Got the little seat the other day.
Yep.
All right, it's October 2nd, 11 o'clock. We're in the City Council chambers. We'll call to order the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee meeting, and we'll start with roll call.
Kara Terry, Ward 1.
Alderman at Large, Kevin Stunick.
Not roll call, we'll start with introductions.
Okay.
Tim Holmes, Brainerd Fire.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
Jesse Dean, City Engineer.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
Chris Evans, Utilities Director.
Nick Broyle, City Administrator.
And Gabe Johnson, Chair of the committee. We have 9 items before us. The first of which is to accept the retirement of firefighter Josh Smith. That is Tim.
Yeah, so Josh has been with the department for over 22 years. He submitted his resignation in August and will be done at the end of the year. So, super great firefighter, certainly will be missed, and having those years of experience really makes a big difference. So, and just an update, we did a paid-on-call, a second paid-on-call testing a few weeks ago, and we were able to, I think we're going to interview 6 out of that. So one of those will at least be able to replace Josh's position. So currently we're at 36 paid-on-call firefighters. So we're maintaining really good numbers still.
I make a motion to accept his retirement with regret.
And I will second with regret.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. One question, Tim, we want to be 35 to 40 basically on the paid on call roster.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've always shot for is a good number, and we've really been able to maintain that over since I've been here for sure.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next up is to approve the resignation of police officer Elizabeth Gleason. Chris.
Police Officer Elizabeth Gleason has submitted her letter of resignation, with that resignation to be effective October 4th. The recommended motion is to accept her resignation and to authorize staff to begin the hiring process to backfill that position.
I make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So she submitted, I read the letter, but I don't remember the date in which she submitted her resignation.
Right.
9/18?
Correct.
Okay. I was just wondering about the timeline for the October 4th. Seems like short notice, but she gave us 2 weeks.
She gave us the notice she is required to.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
And she has accepted a position with the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Department. From what I'm told, she will no longer be a position that's on the street. So it's advantageous for her family. So good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next up, reclassify Jude Gregerson to CSO position. Chris.
Mr. Gregerson started his employment with us back in May of 2024 as a police intern. According to Sourcewell's internship reimbursement program, his last day he was eligible for that was September 30th. So at this point, we would like to reclassify Jude to a community service officer position. And then on a side note, we will start advertising for another police intern going forward as well.
I so move.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next up, approve the resignation of Recreation Specialist Haley Blank. Chris.
Yes, Haley Blank has submitted her resignation notice that was received on September 19th, and it was effective that date. The Parks and Recreation Board met on September 24th, and they reviewed the job description for that position, and they did have some minor recommended changes for that. Those changes are included in your packet in the red line version. Our recommended action is to accept Haley's resignation effective September 19th, and then to approve the updated job description as recommended by the Parks and Rec Board, and finally to authorize staff to begin the hiring process to backfill the recreation specialist position.
Second.
Any discussion? I've got a question. You have interviews for the Public Works Director scheduled for tomorrow.
Correct.
Should we delay hiring that person's direct report until we have them on board shortly? So it's somebody they feel they can work with instead of hiring the subordinate and then bringing the boss on board and saying, this is somebody you have to deal with.
So if I'm following your train of thought, Gabe, we are advertising, or excuse me, our interviews are tomorrow for the Public Works Director.
Yeah.
So that person should be on board before we do the interviews for the Recreation Specialist. So that person is subordinate to the park or the recreation, excuse me, the Public Works Director.
Yeah.
So that director would help us do the selecting for that new
Correct. I
recreation
think that would be
specialist.
the correct process.
Repeat that?
Correct. That's what
Right.
I think we should do.
Right, and that's the way it's planned to work at this point. So we've got 3 good candidates for our Public Works Director position. I'm very hopeful that we will have someone on board soon for that position.
So we'll wait to hire this recreation specialist until we have that person to be involved with the,
Correct.
okay. I'm gonna include that in the motion on,
I was gonna say, just to be
On-
clear, what happens if the 3 candidates don't accept, then we're delaying this hiring, is what Gabe is trying to say.
is what I would propose we
Yeah, that's fine.
add to the
I
motion on
agree.
Monday night.
I agree.
Right, like I want 2 people that can work together, working together, right?
Keep it
Nick?
clean.
Just in the interest of clarification, the yet-to-be-named new Public Works Director will be on the interview panel to replace this position that we're talking about right now. So if the onboarding of the new Public Works Director is delayed, then we'll delay this position until that director is on board so they can be part of that decision-making process.
Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, and I'm going to include that in the motion on Monday.
Right.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. Next up, update regarding the Transit Operations Specialist position. Chris?
We received 8 applications for our Transit Operations Specialist position, with 2 candidates invited to interview. Unfortunately, we had an unsuccessful hiring process. We just wanted to let you know that we had done that process, and now staff wants to get together and try to figure out what our options are going forward. This is just an informational item at this point.
Thank you for the update. Any questions?
Nope.
Next up, accept retirement of meter service worker Carl Kizar.
Carl has submitted his retirement notice, and his retirement will be effective December 12th. We get lots of notice from retirees usually because they need to submit their para application, and it takes a while for that, and we appreciate it. With that said, since Mr. Evans is new and has only been on the job for about a month, he would like some time to review the needs and the organizational structuring. Therefore, he's requesting a delay in backfilling this position to assess whether modifications, if any, or a complete change to the position is warranted. So at this point, the recommended action is a motion to accept with regret the retirement of meter service worker Carl Kieser effective December 12th, and then staff will come up with a recommendation in the future.
Nice, so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept with regret the retirement and to delay the backfilling until the department can identify what its needs are moving forward. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next up, authorize staff to begin the hiring process for an apprentice line worker.
So going back to November of 2023, since then, we have had 4 vacancies in our journeyman line worker position. We have hired 2 that started last month. We have a conditional job offer for one other person. Hopefully, he will be able to start soon. With that said, we still have 1 vacancy. In discussing it eternally, the recommendation is to do an internal job posting for an apprentice line worker instead of a journeyman line worker. So since the authority that we had was a journeyman, we wanted the council to be aware that we're switching gears a little bit and that we would be going through this process. The recommended action is a motion to authorize the hiring process for an apprentice line worker instead of a journeyman line worker. Further, that we utilize an internal job posting to fill the vacancy.
I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a quick comment, Chris, on all of these positions. I very much appreciate you guys taking a look and determining what the need is and structuring these requests in such a way that you believe is a good idea, rather than just bringing forth a template to, fill them all just the way they are. So thank you for all of that.
It is a team effort.
I have one question. What's the the experience difference between an apprentice and a journeyman line worker?
Go ahead, Chris.
Excellent question. It varies from region to region, but it's, one component is time, education, and experience. It can be, whether or not a person has the training for doing live line work versus de-energized line work. So there is a distinction, much like any trade, you have like a journey level, then an apprentice. And so it's training, time and service, and it's ranked. So it's a less of a skill set in that the person is learning the skills to be able to go to the next level. I guess trying to be timely to the needs of the department in review of the applications that were received, and of those applications, what percentage or what people within that group were actually qualified, because you can say that, oh, I'm a journey level, because even that varies from utility to utility, or just because you have a certification. Again, we're just trying to find the quality to keep the safety, reliability, efficiency of our electrical system at the level that we're at, and trying to raise the bar for that as well. And so, again, trying to be timely. The individual that we're looking at, as well as, going through the internal processes, do we have people that aren't quite there yet, but under tutelage, guidance, support, that we can get that person to that level eventually? So whether it's, 6 months, a year, 2 years, if the person puts in the time, goes through the courses, goes through the training, and works well, that at that point, we would come back and say that this person now meets all the qualifications. We want to promote them to a journey level.
Okay,
Think of it as a CPA, Gabe, a CPA license. They have to test, they have to do all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it can take a while for them to get through. That's how I look at it, as a license, a CPA license.
So if I remember correctly, it takes about 4 years to become, when you start your journeyman program, to become a journeyman. And there are several testing processes throughout that. In the union contract, it says that as long as they're progressing in their books, they advance every 6 months in a wage adjustment. It's based on the full journeyman wage. So it's a percentage of that based on where they are in their books and where they have completed their testing process, so.
okay. Do we employ any apprentice line workers currently?
We have in the past. We've hired a couple of them. We usually try to do the journeyman, but we also can train people on our system. And right now, we've got a good person that has been there. This person was here in the summertime and has continued to work for us on Fridays. So I know that Trent and his crew are very happy with this individual, and so that's why they're asking for the internal process.
Okay. Yeah, to me, it seems like a good thing. Like we should be having 1 or 2 apprentice line workers and training them in our system and working them up through our organization, instead of always just trying to hire top down, train from the bottom up. It's kind of like we're doing at the police department.
And if I may, this is also a shining example of the internship programs that the city has graciously developed. So kudos for that, thank you. And yeah, there's always a risk of revolving door, but, if we can hire local where it makes sense and, establish the relationships, I think it's a win going forward. Thank you.
Great. Anything else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. That motion carries. Next up, approval of the 2025 health insurance broker agreement. Chris?
So in your packet is the 2025 service agreement between the City of Brainerd and Northwest Partners, for Northwest Partners to be our health insurance broker for the Better Health Collective Insurance Pool for the city and the HRA. The Northwest Partners is asking for a slight increase this year. Since we have been with them since 2020, it has been a $25,000 a year split between the entities based on on full-time employees. That's how that cost is allocated for people that are eligible for this plan. For 2025, they're asking to increase that for $2,000 up to $27,000. They do bill us on semi-annual installments. I've been very happy with our broker. They've provided us some really good information and insight. They help us with our open enrollment. And then also during our last Employee Insurance Committee meeting, Adam, who is our broker, was here talking about maybe next year might be the year we should be looking at possibly going out for bids for health insurance. The last couple of years, we've had some pretty high utilization, but realizing Health Partners is now losing this pool, they may look at us a little bit more favorably. So it is something that is being looked at as well for your 2026 renewal. The recommended action is to authorize retaining Northwest Partners as our health insurance broker for 2025 for the Better Health Collective, formerly known as Sourcewell, in the amount of $27,000. Further, to approve the attached 2025 service agreement between the city and Northwest Partners.
Nice, so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, any discussion? Chris, how long have we had this broker?
Since 2020.
Since 2020. What did we have before that?
We utilized RG Insurance. They did not, they were not a broker at this level. This broker is more fully engaged. And truthfully, RG Insurance just helped us with what we were asking for at the time. In 2020, we had went out for health insurance quotes. And so they were much more instrumental in helping us review those quotes and giving us guidance.
Right, and we didn't have a broker, right?
RG Insurance was the broker before that.
What was their fee?
I believe it was $5 per month per contract. It was a much different level of service.
What is that in the tens of thousands of dollars annually?
It was part of our actual bill. They just added the amount, the $5 onto our monthly fee, so we didn't actually get a fee separately from RG. Something like that.
Times 5 times 12, that's not very much. But what I'm saying is this, how much?
About
$9,000. What I'm saying is this $27,000 is an opportunity to save money. We haven't always had a broker. We don't necessarily always have to have a broker. We could not, I mean, an 8% health insurance increase isn't really worth 27 grand in my opinion. But just bringing that up because it is an opportunity to save money right now.
Yep.
With that, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye. Motion carries. Number 9, approve flexible spending account administration contract with WEX Incorporated.
So as part of our Better Health Collective Insurance Pool, we have utilized Health Partners Insurance. And starting on January 1st of 2025, we are transitioning to Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have had Health Partners as our flexible spending account administrator for many years. And that was primarily because they were our medical service provider. With transitioning to Blue Cross Blue Shield, we need to switch our medical or FSA administration, or we should. It's easier for people that utilize their employee portal and things like that. We are recommending that we switch to WEX for our flexible spending account administration. They currently do our COBRA administration for us, so we already enter all employees into their system so that they have the information. It helps us administratively not to utilize a separate vendor to do that type of thing. With this, there will be a slight increase in costs. They do require a $500 one-time setup fee in order to become our new provider. They also charge $495 per participant per month, which is a slight increase of $425 per month that Health Partners had charged. At this point, staff is recommending to approve the contract with WEX to provide our flexible spending account administration effective 1/1/25 with said agreement subject to the city attorney's review and approval. He is looking at them right now, and the final versions will be included in the packet.
I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So who takes on the $495 per participant fee? The city?
The employer does. So what we do is we look at who actually utilizes the benefit, and we will split that cost up to prorate it based on those people that actually elect the benefit.
First, I'd like to preface this by saying I have no investment or anything in WEX. I do utilize them as a benefit for Crow Wing County, and I can speak to the employee experience. It seems to be very easy and streamlined. I am not sure if that creates a conflict of interest since I use them as through my employer. But I want to be transparent that way.
I'll speak for Joe and say, no, it doesn't.
Okay. But I just wanted you to know.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to add, I think, we've had this for many, many years, and we were tracking the fee incorrectly compared to where the payroll savings were coming from. So in the next couple agendas, I'll come up with a transfer of funds from the general fund to this flexible spending account in about $19,000, because over the years that has built up, the admin fee and all that kind of stuff, and I just think we needed to, starting January 1st, if this is approved, start over. So the fee will come out of the general fund as well as the payroll savings, and then the payroll deductions and that will still come out of that operating fund, but we shouldn't be negative. We should only be positive.
Budgetarily, what's that look like? Good or bad?
It just 20,000. It's reported in the general fund for the audit purposes. It'll be fine. It'll break even. There'll be a slight cost, I think, for the
Okay,
state
that's
side.
bad then.
Well, we're talking slight.
Yeah, well, every dollar.
Yep,
Mind the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves.
yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
That's it.
Anything else to come for us? I have one more thing. I think, Connie, we should look at the street tree budget that we put $25,000 to, and I think we should cut it this year. I think we should bring it down to $15,000. I know this was not a staff, but a council initiative that we enacted a number of years ago, but with our levy looking like it is, like we've got to be cutting everywhere. So I think even council initiatives got to be cut down. So I think let's bring that tree budget down. Do you want a motion to that effect, or
Sure. I would appreciate a motion.
we cut the street tree budget by 10
I'm
grand?
fine with that. I make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And that is also one of the park board's recommendation, was also cutting the tree program in their budget as well.
Oh, good. Okay, with that, we've got a next meeting date, Connie?
Our next meeting will be October 16th at 11 o'clock.
October 16th at 11 o'clock,